The federal government says it has dismantled several gangs, bandits and criminal elements in the Northwest region in its efforts towards providing a secure environment to promote an enabling environment for good governance. The president made this known through Vice President Kashim Shettima while declaring open the Northwest Security Summit in Katsina. Arise correspondent Awal Ibrahim has more.
It is a gathering of governors of the Northwest region and other key players in the security sector, including representatives from the United Nations and the diplomatic corps. They are here to appraise the security situation within the region and provide workable solutions towards tackling insecurity in the region. President Bola Tinubu, represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, says the current strategy being adopted in the fight against banditry and kidnapping in the Northwest region is yielding the desired objective, as several gangs, bandits and criminal elements in the area have been dismantled.
Our military forces, through various operations such as Operation Hiding Cave and Operation Safe Haven, have made true promise to the nation by targeting insurgent groups like Boko Haram and bandits who have held us to ransom for too long. Through enhanced border security and intelligence capabilities, we have disrupted and dismantled criminal networks. Each of you here is aware of the high-profile figureheads of these groups, neutralized by our forces.
We can do it. We will finish this thing. Together, we will solve the problem of insecurity, and together, we will fight poverty, and together, we will bring Nigeria back to prosperity.
United Nations resident and humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria and other UN officials say the country needs to get things right in the security sector so as to improve the spread of development. The Sultan of Sokoto, while speaking on behalf of traditional leaders in the northwestern states, laments how the outcome of previous peace and security summits are yet to yield the expected results.
Once more, talk about. We have had a series of conferences in the last 10, 12 years on these issues. And the last one we had in 2022 was the most instructive, I think the best way forward. But unfortunately, we could not implement anything as elections 2023 came on.
The meeting is expected to come up with a unified strategy towards finding lasting solutions to the ongoing banditry, killings and kidnapping, especially in Katsina, Kaduna, Kebbi, Sokoto and Zamfara states. Awal Ibrahim, Arise News, Katsina.
Thank you, Awal. Rufai, your take on this peace and security summit held by the Northwest governors and leaders, quite well attended, I must say.
A couple of things. Summits are good. This is done in partnership with the UNDP and the conversation as regards ending insecurity. President Tinubu sent his representative, like I was just saying before we got on the AIO. I think President Tinubu, with all these key events in the north, where you can at least handshake, slap hands, bump fist with stakeholders in the north, I think it's best he's there personally. I just have to say that. That's out of the way. Secondly, yes, we've been having insecurity summits from God knows when. Problems also highlighted. You know, they talked about many things they've done, like the initiative Pulaka, if my memory serves me right. You know, non-kinetic, kinetic means and all of that. We want peace and all of that. But I think as this summit was going on, we hear the very sad news of the Deputy Vice Chancellor that was killed by bandits. Only last weekend, into this last weekend, we also had the general that was killed in his estate in Abuja. What is going to be the lasting solution? Number one, the lasting solution to the insecurity is the truth. That's the sad reality. When are we going to tell ourselves the truth? When are the stakeholders going to tell themselves the truth? No matter how much summit you have from today till tomorrow, if there's still a lot of complicity along the ranks, you are not ready. Like I always say, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. Where is the truth in all of this? Where is the truth against the perpetrators of all of this? Where is the truth as regards going around who are those funding these people? The other day we had the case of the Dubai authorities arresting some people that are funding terrorism in Nigeria. How did that end? Where is the truth as regards busting the ecosystem of these people? Terrorists are not invincible. They have associates, they have friends, they have family. The day we are ready to tell ourselves the truth, all of this will come to an end.
All right, Dr. Batin.
Okay, Northern leaders, they have been meeting since 1959. When they met in 1959, it was in response to the introduction of universal free education in the Southwest in 1955 by Awolowo, Obafemi Awolowo, chief, leader of the Yorubas in the Southwest. In 1957, the Igbos met also on the question of education. Whereas the Yorubas succeeded with their own initiative in 1955, and the Igbos succeeded with their own initiative in 1957, truncated by the Civil War of 1967 to 1970. Northern leaders and governors have been holding talks since 1959. Where is the result? They have the largest number of out-of-school children. The figures vary. UNICEF says today 13 million children out of school. Tomorrow they will say 15 million children out of school. But the bulk of that figure, they are in the north. They are marginaries. President Jonathan tried to address the problem. It was northern elders and leaders and governors that frustrated it. Okay, now here we are. They are meeting again post-2023, and they say they are discussing security, how to ensure security in the northwestern part of Nigeria. Hosted by the Northwest Governors Forum, hosted in collaboration with the UNDP. The event was attended by the military and all the relevant stakeholders. And now what are they telling us? You quoted the speech by the Vice President, yes. Senator Shetima, who represented President Tinubu. And President Tinubu, through him, is saying, oh, we have been looking at kinetic and non-kinetic options. We are committed to checking banditry in the Northwest. We're committed to the same national security architecture that have been put in place by the Buhari administration and all of that and all of that. The speech also talked about the Pulaku initiative, Pulaku, which is a resettlement program for people, you know, in the Northwest who are ravaged, affected by the effects of banditry. The Sultan of Sokoto was also at that event, and he also spoke about the commitment of the traditional rulers, because there was a lot of talk by the UNDP, by the Vice President, about how local solutions are important. The military also made a point about local solutions. So a community approach in terms of the non-kinetic approach. Look, the thing is, when we hold these talks, whether it's the governors bringing everybody together, even Rada, who is the chairman of the Governors Forum, talked about the commitment of the governors, but do they have the powers? Do they have the resources? So you have a situation whereby on the question of ensuring security, whether in the Northwest or elsewhere in the country, our leaders, they make all the right statements. But do they have the capacity to walk the talk? I do not think so. It is instructive that the summit, the Peace and Security Summit in the Northwest, in Katsina, I think it was held in Katsina, you know, yesterday, coincided with the meeting of the governors of the Southwest in Abeokuta, Ogun State. And you can imagine, we don't have the full details of what they discussed. They too will be talking about security in the Southwest. So government has its job cut out for it. Constitutionally, under Section 14, which says that 2B, Section 14, sub 2B, which says that the responsibility of the Nigerian government is to ensure the security and welfare of the people. Number 2, President Tinubu, as others before him, is faced with the reality of insecurity in Nigeria. The thing is what to do about it. And what they do about it, we will measure in terms of results. At the moment, despite the Pulaku initiative, a lot of people are displaced, not just in the Northwest, also in the Northeast. The threat continues. But it is good that President Tinubu understands the problem. He himself articulated it in another context the other day. We know our problem in Nigeria is not knowledge. It's not how to talk. Our problem is how to walk the talk and provide solutions. We hope that the summit in the Northwest and in the Southwest will be a wake-up call afresh for the Tinubu administration.
Well, talking about the Southern Governors Summit, in a few minutes, in a moment, we're going to go to that. Adefemi Akinsoya was actually there, and she has a full report on that, so we'll give you updates. But very quickly, let me just touch on something that I believe is very important. We've often talked about the fact that when we talk about tackling insecurity in Nigeria, it's been said to have a two-pronged approach, kinetic and non-kinetic. And I know Dr. Abati always refers to that and say this kinetic and non-kinetic, but I think it's a very important point because highlighting the challenges that we have in the Northwest and northern part of Nigeria, we see education as a big problem. And the UNDP head in Nigeria, Etafoa, had mentioned the fact that for us to really tackle insecurity, in addition to the kinetic and force in terms of the use of force, we must also address points like the investment in education. We must also look at investment in infrastructure. We must also look at a community-based approach to tackling insecurity, because the truth is, when you apprehend these bandits, when you rehabilitate them, as some state governors have done, if there are no options for them or alternatives for them in terms of having a way to live or to make ends meet, then it will become attractive again for them to go into a life of crime. That's a different conversation. But let's even talk about those young people. Investing in our young people, our resources. I often talk about the fact that the young population in Nigeria ought to be an asset, not a disadvantage. But you would see in the North and in the Northwest and where crime thrives that they are often used as weapons, tools to perpetrate this evil. If only the government would address these issues around ensuring that they have access to education. The North has the highest number of out-of-school children in the world, not just in Nigeria. If they would address the issue around poverty, hunger, making it less attractive for them to pursue a life of crime. So yes, I do think it's important to talk about the use of technology, drones, fishing them out, smoking them out from the hideout. But I also think it's equally as important to address these other issues that are not kinetic, which are ensuring that the people find crime and a life of crime as unattractive as possible. And this is where the community leaders come in as well, because they wield a lot of influence amongst the community members. They know some of these people who are going into this, who are bandits, who are perpetrating these acts. They can actually speak to them. I've worked with community leaders and community groups before, especially using investment in education, making the bales in the areas in the Southwest. This project was done. The custodians of the education grant, education sponsorship, and they were able to use that to get the people together that, see, we're helping your children have a better life. Do not spoil or vandalize our investment. These are things that we must continue to talk about. It's not just about force alone. We must also find a community-based approach to keep the young people engaged, to ensure we have a better life for the people in terms of tackling poverty and inequality, and to invest in education and infrastructure. Alongside, force, this is something we'll talk about. Talking about the military and how well they've done. It's 1 year since the appointment of the service chiefs, I must mention. Congratulations to them. They have made considerable strides, but it's important for us to continue to measure just how much we can, has been done in pushing back and tackling insecurity in Nigeria. So great summit there. I think it's definitely a right step in the right direction. But like has been mentioned, beyond speaking, it is the action points that take place afterwards.
Before we move on, just a slight erratum. The people who met in Abeokuta, Southern Governors Forum.
Yes.
But the people who met in the Northwest Governors Forum.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go to that actually. So we move to the capital of Ogun State in Abeokuta, which was host of the Southern Governors Forum meeting led by Prince Dapo Abiodun. 17 state governors from across Nigeria's south were invited to discuss, debate, and demarcate plans for their region. At the meeting, Governor Abiodun was elected chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, with Anambra Governor Charles Soludo elected as vice chairman. Minimum wage, infrastructural development and intrastate trade were all on the agenda, as Adefemi Akinsoya reports.
Their states comprise Nigeria's geographic bottom, but the success of this block of southern states is a top priority. Descending on the presidential lodge in the Ogun State capital, Abeokuta, was the Southern Governors Forum. Led by Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun, it's the first of its kind since the death of former Southern Governors Chairman and Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu in 2023. Leading the pack of arrivals was Lagos State Governor and Chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Putting partisan politics aside, the leaders sat to discuss, debate and demarcate their plans for the South's future. 17 governors were invited, 16 attended, either in person or via representative. Thwarting a nearly perfect attendance was Rivers State Governor Fubara, who made no appearance. Clergyman and Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Uno delivered the opening prayer, and with that, the closed-door meetings began. They reopened with the announcement of Governor Dapo Abiodun elected chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, with Chukwuma Charles Soludo his vice chairman. A move Governor Abiodun says he's humbled by.
It underscores the commitment and the determination to ensure that the southern states occupy their pride of place.
On the agenda was minimum wage, infrastructural development, as well as intrastate trade and investment.
The issue of infrastructure was an important one. But we didn't even discuss that issue without first acknowledging what our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, had recently done. The conceptualizing of the coastal road, and more importantly, the flag off of the construction of the coastal road. We were unanimous in appreciating the initiative because we can see how much of an impact it will make to the economy of the entire southern region. And the part of Ondo State where this road will terminate, ideally if you are traveling from Lagos to that part of Ogun State, today it will take you about 5 hours. When that road is completed, it will take you about 30 minutes. That is the transformation in terms of impact that this road will have on our people. The construction itself, the sheer size of it, will provide hundreds of thousands of jobs. And you can imagine the multiplier effect of that.
The unity among the leaders was evident in the uniform worn, all in matching blue adire, a nod to Ogun State's homegrown fabric.
That just underscores how we want to be defined going forward as one indivisible, united region that is blind to party affiliations or tribe or ethnic or religious tendencies. This is a tie and dye design that has been produced in Ogun State for many generations. And when I assumed office, the industry was dying. It was dying because the Asians were coming here, they were copying their direct prints, taking it to Asia, and bringing it back as prints, like Ankara prints. And by so doing, it was robbing this small or medium-scale enterprise of job opportunities and of income. So I said, we must do something to resuscitate this industry. And I decided that everyone in Ogun State must wear adire on Fridays, at least the public service in Ogun State. And there are about 70,000 of us.
Future editions of the Southern Governors Forum are expected to be held quarterly, where stock can be taken on whether these leaders can take the South all the way to the top. Adefemi Akinsoya, Arise News. Abeokuta.
Well, thank you very much, Adefemi. Fresh from covering, well, she attended the Ojude Oba Festival, so she's been really busy in that part of the country. But very importantly, this Southern Governors Forum, obviously something's come. I'm glad that the governor, who is now the chairman, Prince Dapo Abiodun, the chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, had the opportunity to speak about the importance of the Ashwebi, the Adire fabric, and how it, his wife, Her Excellency Bamidele Abiodun, has promoted the wearing of Ashwebi, of the Adire fabric, which is indigenous to the state. But also, it was good to see at least one woman in that meeting. I have to say that. And it's by courtesy of the fact that she was representing her governor. There's too much testosterone on that table. But, just speaks to the representation in that regard.
Well, the reality is that Nigerian politics is still phallocentric, and women representation is one of those problems that we still have to address. I think it's a problem, again, that women are restricted to the women's wing, they are restricted to deputy governorship position, subsidiary positions. But more importantly, I would like to congratulate Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, who is now the chairman of the Governors Forum for the South, for the entire South. And that they are talking about minimum wage, about issues of importance. And also, I noticed that the governor of Anambra State was wearing a different cap. It may project diversity, but it's more important that, look, next time, Governor Soludo should blend.
Yes.
Because the whole idea is also about community.
Absolutely.
Beyond whatever political ideas that they are discussing.
All right.
This is important.
Very important.